rugby, engineering, to the complete opposite of entrepreneur and faceless Instagram. How did that come about? What's the story?
I think there's a few things happen, but ultimately I just hated my job pretty much. So you work hard to go to university, do 4 years, you get sold this dream of being an engineer, earn 100K plus straight away, and then that's your life for like the next 30, 40 years till you retire. And to me, that was like hell. So I think a year or two in, I was just like, nah, this isn't for me. And then had to quit pretty much straight away after the first 2 years, and then figure out a bunch of different businesses until this is kind of the one that worked. But there was about 20 others, I reckon, that didn't work along the way. And it took about 4 or 5 years to kind of fall upon this niche. So now it's all right. But yeah, it was mainly because of the whole, I call it a quarter life crisis of like 25, where you're just, I think a lot of Gen Z kids are going through that now as well, because there's just more to see on TikTok, Instagram, whereas the generation above us, they didn't see anything. So they all do their jobs now and they're better at staying at jobs. Whereas I think nowadays, a lot of the younger kids, people are complaining that they just stay for a year or 6 months and they kind of stop. So
yeah,
which is a good and a bad thing, depending on the type of person you are.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. Like, I think we might have grown up just on the fringe.
Yes.
On the fringe of that, like being in that kind of 25 to 35 range type of thing. You kind of grew up with technology and,
exactly,
we saw MySpace and Facebook and we saw the evolution of it all. So it was like, once you started seeing, people on Instagram or TikTok making heaps of money, you're like, why the hell am I a mechanic? Or why the hell am I an engineer? Or like, what am I doing? I should have been doing TikTok dances in 2013 or whatever, and I could have been making millions by now.
Exactly.
So, but what was so you're at school, you're playing some rugby, it's pretty high level. You decided to stop that essentially, did you? And
no, I went to like a very high level rugby school. It was in Brisbane. It's called Nudgee. Everyone in like Queensland knows about it, and a lot of the Wallabies come out of there, even like Super Rugby, even NRL players. But I wasn't like, the first 15 they all pretty much get contracts pretty much straight away. I played seconds, and then after that I went straight to uni, but because I was doing engineering, I couldn't really do both, if that makes any sense. And for me, rationally, I was like, I just have to focus on one, and statistically it made more sense to get a degree and focus on that rather than going to something else. But along the way, I would only play like for like a few months and I'd stop, and then the next year I just wouldn't play because I had to pass all my subjects and all that. But I was never, all my mates now are really, really good. They stuck to it the whole way through. There's like 5 or 6 of them now that like are playing in Japan, or they play for like the Wallabies and stuff like that, and they're really, really good. But they had to kind of make a lot of sacrifices along the way as well. First of all, I wasn't as good as them, but also I was also just more into like what statistically made the most less risk.
Very logical about it.
Logical, yeah.
Do your mates have their degrees still, or did any of them pull out, or do they just not have their degree and just they're never going to use it?
All of them actually have their degrees. They all end up getting it. So they did really well to juggle a lot of, like, obviously both disciplines, but nothing against other degrees, but engineering is fucking hard.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them did business and stuff like that, which again, there's nothing against it, but I did business subjects because you can pick like prerequisites for different, and I chose international business, and it was like 1/10 the difficulty compared to like passing one engineering subject.
Yeah.
So it also depended on the type of course that you're doing as well, and because it was so demanding, you kind of had to throw everything at it. Like especially, I think engineering, like doctor, like being a lawyer, all those law degrees, like they're all extremely time consuming and very hard to get.
Yeah, I think when you think about them as well, like if I ever thought about going to university or anything like that and someone was like, be an engineer, I'd be like, hell no. And I don't even know what's in it, but I just instantly think no, like the amount of math or like all that type of stuff.
Problem solving, you go into imaginary numbers, all that kind of stuff. It's just literally like it's another language, it's another world of stuff. But I think engineers are kind of the problem solvers of the world, like Elon Musk, all of them, like they all have like an engineering background, so they all kind of can use that to do other things. And I think that's kind of helped me with where I am now with the business that we have, where all the problems, I still think the hardest problems I had to solve was back then.
Yeah.
To this day, I still like, I think I told you, like I still have nightmares of me not passing subjects because that's how fucked it was. Like, and also I have a creative mind. I think I was talking to you as well. There's two types of people. There's creatives and there's usually people that are more like A-type when it comes to like maths or like into engineering. And I was a creative trying to do the other side. So, but it was just not my thing.
What pushed you into that in the first place? Like, why did you choose engineering?
Because I've got 20 younger cousins and brothers and sisters and stuff, and I'm the eldest on both sides of the family.
Right.
So it was always the pressure of being the firstborn, not just because I'm also the firstborn of my family, but also both sides.
Yeah, like the immediate family or the
Everyone,
whole family.
the whole
like
family,
you're the kingpin of the cousins.
Exactly, yeah. So there's always a pressure growing up of like, you have to be a good example, you have to do this. So engineering just sounded cool and everyone respected. I remember growing up, like even nowadays, if you say you're an engineer, you just get a different level of respect in society. And so I also like the challenge. So I was like, I'll just do this, get the degree. So at least like I am a good example for everyone else.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think if I wasn't the eldest, I don't think I would have done it. No.
Yeah, right.
I don't think I would have done it. It was just more of
just an outside pressure.
Yeah, outside pressure from, like parents and family and that kind of stuff. Because it's all like Asian Islander family. It's very like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Do you think you went through any like mental health battles with any of that? Because like I obviously know you quite well and like you're a very humble person, and it's hard for me to think. This sounds so bad what I'm about to say, but like it's hard for me to think that you might have struggled mentally because how I perceive you now is like you're a very strong person, you've got your own mindset, like all that type of stuff. How did you build that, or was there any struggles that you went through that you can kind of clearly think of?
Oh, yeah, I think everyone goes through different things like at different stages. So like when I went to, because I grew up in the Solomon Islands for 15 years, so I grew up in a third world country for most of my life. Then I came to Australia, went to school, but it was boarding school. So I think that was the first struggle where I was like, I remember crying on the first night of boarding school. But ever since I was 15, I've been out of home. Went straight to boarding school and went straight to live on campus at university. And I think that was the first kind of, like, I was like, this is so hard, to the point where like you're laying there crying, like as a 15-year-old. But then after a while, like that kind of went through. Then the next time would probably be after I left uni and I left all my mates, because I had boarding school and the whole time. I had a close group of friends the whole time, and then going back, quitting my engineering job and trying to start the businesses, that was really tough, because a lot of my friends are I call them the corporate, like the ladder climbers. They kind of look down on you if you're not doing what they're doing, if you're not trying to be a lawyer, you're not trying to be a partner in a firm. And so during that part, I couldn't resonate or relate with a lot of the closest friends at that time. And so I had to separate myself completely for like 2 years. I deliberately chose not to see anyone, because they'd either kind of like not make fun, but you could tell there was like a judgment kind of thing.
Yeah, there was a hierarchy.
And
you're at the bottom of it type of thing.
Exactly. I'm probably wrong, but that's just how I felt. And I didn't like, the struggle is hard enough trying to, like, your ego gets hit down. You're meant to be an engineer. You're working at Under Armour. You're like, and people are walking in that, they're like, what are you doing here? Like you should be there, kind of thing. And so it was hard enough. I didn't need to also get that external pressure from friends. And that was tough as well. During that time, I say that Gary Vee and these other 3 podcasters were like my best friends, because I didn't see anyone for that whole time. And I would just listen to them every day, because I was like, I just can't do this. I need to do this next thing. That was probably the next time that was very mentally tough for sure. And there was a lot of, every day you're just waking up and you're just not happy because you're not where you want to be for 3 to 4 years, pretty much every single day. And that is tough. That's extremely tough. But I think having that like support system, my partner has been with me in all my businesses, and also podcasts, like they're really, really helpful nowadays that you have access to them. It's really good to be able to get in a mindset, in a flow of like getting out of that old self into like this new person that you're trying to create. Essentially, you're essentially creating a new self.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone goes through that process, like when you moved here, and all that kind of stuff as well. Like you're rediscovering everything.
Yeah, that discovery phase.
Yeah, and that's kind of scary as well. And mentally, that was 100%. Quite challenging for me, for sure.
Yeah. So do you think those social pressures that you were feeling, like when you finish university, you're working at Under Armour, you're seeing these people, and then you decide not to because you've got all these, like, it's essentially a bit of anxiety and stuff like that, I guess, about like seeing people and social pressures. Do you think that's what led you to going like, I need to prove these people wrong? Or do you think it was more, I still want to make money, but I need to do something else?
It was a bit of both. Yeah, I think being 30 now, when you grow up, you kind of realize the type of person you are. And I think I am definitely like a chip on the shoulder kind of person. If someone says you can't do it, I'm very the opposite. I will spend the next 4 years. That's what I told my partner. I remember telling her, I said, I'm going to quit this job. Whether it takes you 1 year or 10 years, I'm going to make $1 million in that time, and I'm going to continue making that. And it took, thank fuck, it took less than 10 years. But like now we are like on track to do that, and it's only been like 4 years or so. And it was just a stubborn mindset, I think. Yeah, I think I was born like that though. I think people are born in certain ways. I think you can also train it, but I think I just always remember being like, I used to get smacked. Because I would always just not listen to, like, when I was little. And then I was always the one in trouble. So I think it was kind of a personality thing that you're kind of born with as well, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. I'm very, very similar. Maybe I was just naughty. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think I have a different view on naughty kids now though. Like naughty kids, I think are the ones that I would want to like nurture, to like work for you or like learn off what you're doing, because
100%.
that you don't really want the status quo people, because no offense to them, but to me they're kind of like boring, and they're not like within the niche or like the mindset, because it's a completely different world to
it depends
what we're doing compared to like
the
normal
sheep or the wolf type of thing.
Exactly, yeah, that kind of thing.
yeah, that's funny. I like that. So what was the first business that you started, and give us a rundown?
The first one was actually, so this was 2016. It was when Ecom was booming. I think it was the first boom. Shopify just came out a year before that. I had like a rainbow cutlery store, and it was random but I found a niche. I went through in all like shopping centers, and I found that if you still go through now, all the kitchenware stores are exactly the same 50 years ago. There's no disruption. There's no Gymshark for it. Like Gymshark revolutionized the fitness industry with like the attire they made. And I saw that like it was ripe in that industry, and I had a goal of making that really big. Long story short, it actually did do really well. And I started a few other stores on the back of that, but that was still the most profitable and the most revenue like that we had made. But crazy. My partner ended up selling it to someone, ended up buying it off us. Like a VC was going through, and they pretty much call it like a buyout. They go through and they buy out every like company in a certain niche. And I think they were going around, because we had a few meetings with a few different VCs, and they seem to be like,
just quickly, what's a VC?
Oh, like a venture capital, like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, like a company that like they pretty much invest in certain things to be able to then use that company or that asset to be able to make money for themselves.
Yeah, okay, so they just kind of like accumulate everything, and
exactly.
Then they can kind of control the market.
Exactly,
in a sense. Yeah.
Gotcha. So they kind of bought, and what they usually do is, well, they buy out, then they kill everyone but one.
Yeah.
So they bought us out, and they just didn't do anything with it. So I think they might have had a bigger one that was doing more revenue, and then they just kind of funnel all their attention into there, and it kills all the competition as well. So we actually ended up selling that about a year and a half after, and that was kind of our first big win. And then we started another Ecom store, which was this foam roller water bottle. We got into Culture Kings. I don't know if there's any Australian watchers here, but we got like a decent deal with them as well, where over Christmas they were stocking our product. Culture Kings is one of the biggest, I think, in the world now, streetwear. They sold for like 600 million. Yeah. We got in there. We got into a few things online. That was a long time ago. We got into a lot of the NRL teams with that one as well. But just profitability, that one actually wasn't as good as the rainbow cutlery one.
How'd you go about getting into, like, you know, the cutlery thing is one thing for like just finding something that works and running with it, but the water bottle, to be able to get into bricks and mortar store, and then to have the NRL teams and stuff. I assume the NRL teams were with like your friends or connections through friends through your rugby stays?
A lot of them were, but a lot of them were just really nice guys. Like we just would DM, just reached out. Yeah. So just like DM'd like 100 and maybe 10 would reply.
Yeah. Right.
And then those 10 would get it and then give it to their 10 friends. And then they would just kind of go from there.
Yeah. Right.
And then we had like this crazy, flywheel of content. Not profitable, but it's like a good social media / marketing strategy of we'd run their ads. The ads would run the best because it's got NRL players holding the bottle.
Yeah, it's familiarity, like people know who they are and stuff. But what about Culture Kings? Like, did you reach out to them?
That was my partner. So my partner Taylor, she's really good at sales. She's got a sales background. She used to work for one of the leading ice cream companies in America and Australia. So she had a really good like solid sales strategy. So we were speaking directly with Simon Beard, the founder of and actually fell through a few times. But then I don't know how she does it. I don't really read her emails, but she got it through. I can't say I did any of that. She did most of that.
Yeah.
And then eventually he was like, yeah, like stuff it, let's just do it. And then it just kind of all just happened really quickly. And then it took a few months though to get that deal through though, like negotiations and it's kind of like, what can you give us? What price do you want? How much stock do they want? It's for Christmas. So we knew that they needed like that's pretty much when they sell most of their new stuff. So they wanted to try something new. So it was the only time to really pounce on that opportunity. But yeah, she did most of the negotiation. I was just more of like fulfilling in the marketing kind of thing.
Yeah, cool. That's super interesting that it's just kind of like, it's obviously not as simple as what it sounds as like, hey, just flick them a message type of thing and they'll get back to you, because that's obviously not how it works. But it just goes to show that it can be done.
Definitely.
And that like, that's your second business type of thing. And yeah, you're just reaching out and people are getting back to you. It's kind of sick to know. So
you can't really you'll never know unless you try it. So you have to, like, it took 20, 30 emails over 4 months, but eventually it happens.
Yeah, exactly. I actually used this quote this morning, and the Michael Jordan one, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take type of thing.
I love that one.
And I literally said it to someone this morning in a meeting, and I was just like, it just reminded me that I'm like, it's so true. Like, unless you reach out, unless you send that DM or send that email or whatever, the opportunity's never going to be there unless you make it. Unless you make it.
Exactly. So. A lot of those cliches are true as well. Yeah. Like you realize, like they're cliches, which is corny, but
cliche, cringe, corny, all that type of stuff. But it's unfortunately the stuff that works. So.
Exactly. It's the stuff that people don't want to do either.
Yeah.
Which makes it like even harder. But if you do it, there's a lot of chance that it'll take a while, but it'll work out, definitely. Yeah.
So like after those two businesses, like obviously you don't have to go through all your 30 businesses that you tried and failed or whatever, but like what was the transition into Faceless Instagram theme page type of thing? Like how did that come about from the Ecom?
Well, Ecom's great. I recommend it for anyone that just wants to like have a crash course at business, because you have to do everything, especially at the beginning, because you have no liquidity. You have to learn how to do marketing, Facebook ads. You'll have to learn how to do product shoots. You have to learn how to figure out what the profit margins are. You have to talk to suppliers in China. You pretty much get a crash course. There's like 10 different niches that usually a business has 10 different people managing. And so it's just a high stress all the time. And during that process, I realized that you can have the best idea in the world, but if we didn't run Facebook ads, we would get no sales. So Facebook ads is a real winner for most e-commerce companies, because most of them aren't profitable. 9 out of 10 of them fail over the span of, I think, a year. So during that process, I just got so frustrated with like, why do I have to rely on this thing to make, like, I just want to be able to post something, it go viral, and then I make the money off that. But then I also hated the process, I realized, of actually checking stock, making sure, because e-commerce is a game of you're constantly behind. If you order $1,000 worth of stock and you sell that out, next time you have to order 2,000. So all your money goes back in. All the way, if you have 50,000 worth of stock, you have to order 100,000 next time to make sure you keep up with the supply. So, so you're constantly on the back leg. And that's why a lot of these big e-com companies, when you get to scale, you have to take loans out. And I'm just I'm not a loan guy. I'm not a property guy. My whole thing was always to do with marketing and social media and content. And so it was just kind of understanding that my strengths and sticking to that. I didn't want to take a loan out. That was kind of the next stage, to be able to afford the next bit of stock for the next year and prepare for the next year and all that kind of stuff. But during that process, I realized, it's better to have a community. If you have a community, you get free marketing, you go viral for no reason sometimes as well. And then you can also be able to funnel that back into your product if you have a product, and it's completely free. So I also realized as well, I enjoy doing the content more. So then I kind of looked at all the 10 niches you do when you're a business owner and said, what if I just focus on these 2 things, and how can I make money from those 2 things? And then that's when I stumbled across, I think you did it as well, the NFT like craze.
Yeah.
I started practicing with content there. Like everything I'd learned from a day of like looking at NFTs, I'd post about that night. And the first like 3 videos went viral, got like 1 million views. And then I realized, wait, I can just talk about my everyday doings of me trading this thing, and people will like want to learn as well and be able to like see what I'm doing and learn about the space because it's a new space. And that's kind of how that came about, was that whole page that I started with in the crypto blockchain.
Yeah, and that was your first kind of like run in with Instagram and seeing the power of Instagram essentially.
Proper run in with that. Yeah. Like being able to see, holy shit, like I just got 1 million views and like your followers went up like 10K a day, like back then. And it was just like, people are reaching out to you saying, hey, can you promote this? Can you do that? You got like people wanting to meet you that you used to look up to, all that kind of stuff, because the power of like influence on social media is, again, corny, but it's a real thing. If you have a blue tick and a lot of followers, you can do a lot more than someone that has 0 followers and a really like nice photo as well, like on their profile picture.
Yeah.
It's all about like the psychology of like human, like what you respect and what you don't respect on like a digital kind of level.
Yeah, and then the credibility that comes with it as well. Like if you've got, 1 million followers, that like you're going to look at someone who's got 1 million followers, and even someone with 100,000 followers is probably quite credible.
Yeah.
But if you had to choose between one or the other, you're probably going to follow the person with 1 million, aren't you?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. Even though you'd hate to admit it, everyone says like, oh, we hate these influencers. I hate all this. Like it's so like petty, but ultimately you can't help it. Like it's inherent, like human.
It's kind of like built in now.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Especially the Gen Z, like that's what they've grown up with.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But even the older, you'd be surprised, the older generation as well, a lot of billionaires would rather have a community than have the businesses that they have. Like the amount of people I've listened to that have said like they would rather speak to a content creator than another billionaire because they know how to create community, and to them that's more valuable right now in this day and age over long term than having a business that could fail in the next, like COVID could happen and then their business fails. If COVID happens, you have a community, you still have tangibility, you're able to connect with these people to monetize later on, kind of thing. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's it's interesting, isn't it, that like how crazy social media's gone. So obviously we'll introduce you as power.ai is your page on Instagram at the moment. You've got a few 100,000 followers on there. What was the process like? So after you did the NFT stuff and then you decided to jump on the AI kind of bandwagon type of thing, and then did it just take off, or what was how did you first start powered AI?
The problem I had with it's still to this day with the crypto and NFT stage was that the people, like the way you monetize through this business model, just to break it down, is that you have a community, people reach out to you, they want to like either for you to do their marketing or for you to do like marketing for them on your page, and they pay you a rate.
Gotcha. Like
sponsorships kind of thing. And the problem with the NFT space is that we turn down like 300K plus worth of like potential like sponsorships because they're all scams.
Yeah.
And that was my problem. I still to this day, I still love the concept of it. But I just couldn't deal with the people that we were dealing with because ethically, like I just could not I knew like they wouldn't show their face on meetings. They would tell me it's a scam. Like they would literally just admit it, but they just wanted attention so they can just make as much money as they can and dip. And so that was my biggest problem, is that I really wanted to grow that page. It was the biggest on TikTok for beginners. It was called NFT for Noobs. And at the beginning stages, it was the biggest on TikTok in the world. It had like 150K within the first few months of like the NFT boom starting. But that happened and I was like, I just can't keep doing this. So then I started researching because I love tech. And ultimately with this business model as well, with like Faceless, like social media, you kind of want a niche that has a lot of money. So for example, like NFTs and crypto have a lot of money because people are trying to make like $2 million off a launch or plus, so they can spend like a few $1,000s on just one post for you. So you kind of want to find like a niche that really you can make a lot of money off from the people that are like raised money or they're in America, in Silicon Valley. That's why I love tech. So then I realized like at that time, ChatGPT had just launched. So now it seems, I was talking to my partner about this last night, it seemed like a really smart move, but it was actually a really risky move because ChatGPT had just come out and people are creating wrappers. So wrappers are pretty much like, you're using OpenAI as like their AI to build your own AI product. You're not actually training any models. You're using their models to train your thing.
Is it just like white labeling type of thing?
Yeah, it's pretty much like APIing into OpenAI.
Yeah.
And so about 2 years ago when we started it, everyone was dissing every single company that came out. Everyone was dissing them, saying, you can't do it. Like, this is going to die in 6 months because OpenAI will just create what you have because you're using their software.
Gotcha.
And so it seems smart now, but back then it was a huge risk. It was like, because everyone was saying the bull market was going to start again, but also people were like dissing AI because they were like, only OpenAI will exist. And so it was a big risk, but it kind of worked out now. As you see, like, there's a lot of like hundreds of companies out now that are like all competing in different niches now. There's people creating AI influencers. There's people creating AI OnlyFans models, like huge multi-million-dollar industries. But it was kind of a risk. I was like, I just want a different niche. I want to stay in tech, and I also don't want to deal with scammers. And it was the best move we've ever done because every single people that we've worked with or spoken to are the most genuine people that are just trying to build products to help people.
Yeah.
And they're not trying to sell like an NFT that costs $1,000 and you got to wait 10 years for a metaverse.
Yeah.
They're building something that might cost you $5 a month. If you don't like it, just cancel it the next month.
Yeah.
But they're all very helpful AI products that helps with like everyday productivity, like B2C problems that everyone has nowadays.
Yeah. It's almost similar to Ecom, essentially, in the sense of like the Ecom brands or the things that work in Ecom are the solution to someone's problem.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what these guys in the AI universe are doing. They're like, I have to create something that solves this business's problems or this person's problems to make them want to pay to have it. It's like, it's very, very similar, but like, yeah, these people want to succeed. And if they want to succeed, they've got to have that solution and keep updating that solution to make sure that it works.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's very similar to like when Shopify came out, everyone was like creating online stores. Before that, you couldn't really do that. You had to kind of physically go in and code your own store. And it was exactly, yeah. Whereas now, like, people can also create AI companies that also need marketing, but also they're able to use these resources to improve their everyday workflows or emails, all that kind of stuff as well.
Sorry. No, you're right. So yourself and Taylor, you go through and make all the videos and like you're kind of like 50-50 in the business. You're the creative and she's the sales business kind of back end type of stuff.
Yeah.
That's obviously an awesome dynamic to have with like yourself and your partner. And I know that you've only got 2 other people that work for you. Is that right?
Yeah, we had a few more, but we kind of cut them down because we realized we also just want less people. It's also a big trend in the 80s, 90s, 2000s was when you meet someone, they're like, how many employees do you have in entrepreneur events?
Yeah.
And if you, the higher the number, the more ego they kind of had. Nowadays, it's kind of the opposite. I played around with that for a bit and we got to like, I think 5 or 6. And then you just realize there's just more headaches, more people, more headaches.
Yeah.
And people, it's actually sexier and better if you have less employees, but covering more work. So we cut them down and just made them more efficient and kept the best ones.
That's unreal. And it's almost like, how much do you need as well?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, you know, would you rather be the guy that got his own business, works from 9 to 5, and then has weekends off and gets to go and hang out and do whatever?
Exactly.
Or would you rather be the guy in the tower in the suit, buddy, working 15 hours a day for the same, if not less money, but you've got this huge ego and status type
exactly,
of thing.
yeah.
So, and I suppose that's what you mean by it's sexier to have.
I think it is. Yeah.
Oh, well, I agree as well. Like, I'm jealous.
Yeah, it depends on the person, I think. If you go to uni and you do all that, I think you're in that other world. If you're living in Bali, like what we're doing right now, it's a bit more, you're choosing lifestyle over, I guess, ego and status. Like, I guess status, what people call nowadays in like corporate world kind of thing.
Yeah, so back onto Power AI again, just with that. So would you describe Power AI as a community, or is it just like what else is there that you offer type of thing?
I'd say it's community, it's marketing, but first and foremost it has to be community. So it's the people that are engaging with you every day, that are seeing you every day, which is ultimately building community. I still think, and I believe it's a trend moving forward, like with Gymshark, everything, you need community nowadays. Like you can't just launch something anymore and it go, and you expect to sell like $1 million worth of that product or that service. You need some sort of tangibility with a community or social media. And so it's that, and that's why a lot of companies nowadays as well are finding more bang for your buck if they go and reach out to a community rather than paying for meta ads. Even though it's the same thing on the same platform, people scroll through sponsored. If it says like, you know, when you do like a Facebook ad, that you can't, they legally have to have like sponsored there, and it's just not as organic. Yeah. And if there's 0 likes, it's a shitty way to interact with social media. Yeah. Whereas if you are appearing on a page that has like 500,000 followers, that you go on their page, it has like a lot daily posts. It's very, has a good reputation within the space.
It's
informative, then people are more likely to watch that and click that. The 2 exact same videos you could watch on like a Facebook ad or on a community post, this one is always going to do the best. And that's what we found as well with the clients. Like we've had clients who've worked with for 2 years straight now that just come back because they have marketing budgets they need to hit, and they find better. They tell us like in writing, like this is the best bang for your buck right now for us, specifically in like Facebook ads and Instagram ads or TikTok ads. And so some of them actually run ads through our community as well. So like they'll pay to run an ad on our TikTok or pay to run an ad on our Instagram. So in that way that they can appear through our community to then funnel back into their like AI products or AI services.
Yeah. Okay. So, and by that, do you mean they pay you instead of paying Instagram or Meta? Or
they pay, so instead of like when you create like Meta ads, you have to create an account. So like one of our main clients is like Blaze. So Blaze AI, instead of running the ads through Blaze AI's Facebook or Meta account, we give them access to Power AI's Facebook Meta. And so they still pay for the ads, but the ads is appearing on all of Power AI's Instagram, Facebook, all Meta across everywhere.
Gotcha.
So it's not on there because they have no social tangibility or social like reputation. But we do.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's kind of, it's more strategic. It's like the psychology again of like how you like if you're spending $1 million on ads in a year, that 1%, 2%, 3%, 5% like interaction that you get more with a community adds up to a lot more for you over that time. So it's more the bigger players, like medium to larger scale companies that we work with that like love that because they have such big marketing budgets that they need to be able to do it in the most efficient way possible.
Yeah, that's it. And you've kind of you've filled that gap type of thing. Yeah, I suppose. And I remember you saying one day it's about distribution, and it's like you're kind of getting rid of the FedEx type of thing in the middle, and like all the shit in between, and the only distribution you have to do is upload type of thing.
Exactly, yeah. And so it's also like if you were to rate them, like I'd say Meta ads would be 3, like going through a community like us would be 2. Number 1 for them would be to create their own community, but that's too hard. It's a full-time job in itself. Yeah. That'd be the only other option, like if they were able to have a creator that posts every day and they have like a huge following themselves. That is also like the best thing but none of them do because they're not good at that. And that's why they come to people like us.
And then yours is more broad as well. You can kind of cover a lot more stuff. And so instead of just being like Blaze AI and copying that every single day, which you'd get pretty tired of type of thing. Yeah. You can come to a page like you that's got whatever amount. And
the value you're giving. Yeah. The problem with creating accounts, like for example, if you create an account for your company called Blaze or whatever, like you said, people know that you're selling that product because you're called Blaze AI and you're posting about Blaze AI every single post. Yeah. Your followers, they're just not, it just doesn't work the same. You need to give value.
It's kind of like saying sponsored at the bottom of the thing.
It's the same thing as that. Yeah. You kind of need to give value. And that's why it's better to do the theme pages like Puberty, which is like where we got a lot of our inspiration from. It's that main one that just does worldwide events.
Yeah, actually, I've seen that.
Yeah, on Instagram. I'm sure.
They have like the neon colored.
Yeah, it's like a P, and they're like, they make a lot of money as well. They work with like big dogs, like Warner Brothers and all that. It's pretty much the same model they do, but in the AI niche. Yeah. So they talk about everything, like dogs, movies, whatever. But we just talk about AI. So their clients are broader, but it's exactly the same model.
Yeah. Yeah. There was something that I was going to ask you. You've got a website attached to your Instagram theme page, like to the Power AI.
Yeah.
What was when did that come about? Was that something you always knew that you were going to do, like have a bit of a Wikipedia, a directory for AI, or was it like, can you run me through that?
No, so that came about later. So what happened was in the first 2 or 3 months when I created Power AI, I found this other website called futurepedia.io, and it was going viral on social media. People going to this website because it was a directory. So pretty much like an eBay, but of AI tools. You'd look there and every day they'd update with the latest and greatest AI tools. I reached out to the founder. He was this Indian guy living in like this village in India, like completely like his English was just barely understandable. I forgot his name, but his name was Vivek. And so I spoke with Vivek a few times. I wanted to partner with him to go halves in the website. I'll distribute him the people, and he would just like halves me, like the amount of revenue he was making off the website. Long story short, it went through. I fell through, and I found out at a random Bali villa party, some random e-commerce guy came up to me and said, dude, you're an AI. I'm trying to buy this website called futurepedia.io. I was like, I know that guy. He's like, yeah, we just offered him 600K. He said no. And in that moment, I was like, holy shit, like I need to build my own one, if not like partner with someone, because it's just another, I'm obsessed with Flywheel. So when I create content, I want it to be able to funnel into somewhere that'll funnel back in, because that's free distribution. You don't have to pay a cent on marketing. So what this website does is it's a viral concept. People want to come back every day because there's new AI tools every single day. And so when they go on the website, they also link to our Instagram. So then they'll go to Instagram to see my content every day. But they can also link to my tools if I were to create a tool. So it's just a constant flywheel of people just getting trapped in this ecosystem. And so that's why I was obsessed with it to start with, because if that went viral like Vivek did, then he has a free distribution system in itself built in without any marketing, because people are going to come back every day. They're going to tell their friends, they're going to get posted in groups. And so that's the kind of businesses that I want to do, because I'm lazy and I don't want to do like products, or I want something I can post. I posted 5 times about the website, and the first month it went to like 350K viewers, and now it just sits at 150 to 200K, and I'm not even posting about it anymore. And so clients also pay us to get featured on that website. Up the top, you'll see featured.
Yeah, okay.
And they
so it's
pay
like a package.
It's like a package, yeah. So that's like another thing we upsell clients with, or if they just want the website and they come through the website, they can get that. Then we upsell them the other Instagram. So it's like a flywheel.
Yeah.
They come to Instagram, we upsell the website. They come to the website, we upsell the Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like or the TikTok, and then it just constantly flows.
Yeah.
It's just a perfect flow to be able to create like a never-ending system of, I don't have to talk about it. It just does its own job. It's like a free employee.
And did you, like, I know you said you saw that other website and it was going viral and stuff like that, but did you just stumble across this flywheel effect type of thing, or did you was that your goal the whole time?
It was my goal once I realized I wanted to like create like faceless communities.
Yeah.
It was because I realized because I did so much work with those ecom companies for like 2 or 3 years, and I made the margins on ecom is, if anyone says they're making more than 35-40%, unless like a really niche, like really good niche that no one's done, they're lying. It's only like 5 to 10 max, especially with physical products. If they're doing digital products, it's a lot bigger, but the margins on there are tiny. So if you make 100K, and you see all these ecom guys online always saying, I just made 7 figures, but like they're only taking home maybe 100K from that 7 figures profit. Yeah. And that's like taxes, everything like that. It's the biggest headache of a business model. I got sick of that business model, and I was running that for so long. I realized like the margins, what we're doing now is 85 to 90%. And you also work like way less as well. And there's less things to worry about. You just have to focus on creating the content, making sure everything's working, and the community is building every day. And it just keeps on going up and up and up the whole way through. So it depends on the person. If you really like creating big things and having a huge team and being able to like tell everyone that you have like a big ecom company, that's probably for those people. But for me, I realized I just want time. I want to buy my time back, work less, and be able to, like, we went to Japan for a few weeks, that kind of stuff as well. Yeah. And enjoy life but still make like decent money. Kind of, how much can I work and make the most money I can without actually working?
Just min-maxing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of my mentality these days.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people have that mindset. They want to do the absolute minimum for the absolute maximum. And it's almost like unfortunately, it's almost like a crisis at the moment, because 100%. I feel like, like I worked at McDonald's for ages and I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care. But that's what I did. And it goes back to what we were saying before about how we're kind of lucky that we grew up with all this stuff. Yeah. Because kids nowadays, see the 13-year-old, 14, 15-year-old doing something on TikTok, and then they getting a sponsorship and blah, blah, whatever, making all this crazy money. And everyone's like, well, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And then no one wants to go to work for 40 hours a week or anything. So like, exactly, I'm kind of interested to see where the world goes in the next kind of like 10 or 15 years. Like, are we going to go into a big old hole, or is it going to...
I agree. I think it depends as well, because I think I can say I can do that now because I ate shit for like 5, like even if you count the engineering days, like 8 years, I ate shit and I worked really hard. And because I know like what my limits are, and I actually push myself to like every day not making money like for that long, I know that I gave that a shot and I worked really hard. And I know now, like, I also appreciate the situation I'm in because I know how hard it can be running your own things. Like, I think, but the people that go straight into it and think, I just want to do the least amount, and they haven't actually struggled. Yeah. That's where the problem is, I think.
Yeah, it's that wrong mindset at the start. Yeah. Whereas you had the right mindset at the start, and then you've got to where you are, and now you appreciate what's going on. And now you can min-max that because you've done the hard yards.
Yeah. I think it comes with experience. Yeah. Like, there's so many kids in my niche. Like, I think we're the 4th biggest in the world right now of like AI communities. And there's a few that are bigger than us and they're younger than me, but they're like doing things that I'm like, they just don't realize the opportunity they're in because they kind of stumbled across it. Yeah. And they're doing other things that aren't even related to AI. I'm like, dude, you are sitting on a gold mine right now. But because they just didn't go through the struggles, they're not putting all their attention into this. They're doing other things because they're like, oh, I started this, it worked, I'm making money, I can do whatever. If I touch that, that'll turn to gold. But like, I know that I've touched like 20 things and it turned to fucking poo. Yeah. So, and this is the only thing that turned to gold. So now I know like this is like a diamond in the rough kind of opportunity. But if I didn't have that experience, I would do the same thing if I was like 20, like these kids that are literally like, they're sitting on a gold mine and they make so much money for 20-year-olds, but they kind of, they don't have the attention span or experience to know that they're sitting on something amazing.
Yeah. Do you think that it's long-term?
Oh, I do now. When I started it 2 years ago, I'd wake up every day and thinking like ChatGPT is just like a fad. Yeah. Because like that's what everyone was saying back then. Because it just come out, they're like, there's nothing else. It's kind of like when email came out. They're like, everyone, believe it or not, everyone was like, the internet is just for email. Because I had to go back in time because I was stressing out so much. I was like, okay, what other technology happened like this where it turned out to be bigger than what it was. And the internet was one of those things. I went back and watched interviews of people laughing at like Bill Gates, where he's like, what is this internet thing? It's like they're all laughing at him on talk shows. He's like, it's going to be the next big thing. And then everyone's like, no, you can't. You just send emails. It's just words on this like screen. Yeah. And it turned out to be way bigger than we thought. And that kind of kept me going. I was like, no, this is like just to have faith. Because back then there was like image models didn't really exist. They were making those really shitty like characters that are not like as realistic as they are now. Yeah. So the only use case was ChatGPT. And so I think it's going to be around for a very long time, if not bigger than the internet. A lot of billionaires and really smart futurists are saying it'll be bigger than the internet itself because it's essentially the next level of the internet. Yeah. Everything it can do and everything that it's contributing to society already. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I've been speaking to like customer support from Meta, and I'm pretty sure I'm just talking to an AI right now. Yeah. Like, they've cut probably 10,000 people from customer support from all these countries just to use this AI now. Like, it is completely... It's
kind of the dark side of it though,
isn't it? Definitely. But that's why you got to stay on top of it as well. Like, you can either... Same thing happened when the internet came out. People like, they're going to replace our jobs. But there's this like old saying where there's someone in the 50s that said, by the year 2000, we are not going to have any jobs. Humans are going to because machines will do everything. But for some reason, humans, and it's like the paradox of being a human, we always find more things to do. Yeah. So like, instead of like machines do like farming now for us, we will go and like do something else with our time that adds to the farming business, or another industry will create something else. Like this, I think it will take the jobs, AI, but we will also find more niches to focus on and put our attention in. And we're actually working more now, they're saying, than we did like when we were farmers. Yeah. We're working, like they used to work a few hours in the morning, have a 3-hour break, have like graze for a bit, then go out and finish the farming. Now we're working like 8 to 10 hours a day. Like in Bali, they work 6 days a week, like 8 to 10 hours. So I don't think like people that are scared of AI taking over, I don't think that's really an issue. It's more where are the next jobs going to appear once it kind of takes over like the customer service jobs and and maybe all the AI like influencer jobs, that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, it's crazy where the world's going, but I definitely think you're right. Like, do you think it's dependent on the niche that you're in, the longevity of it? Like, do you think AI, because it's still so fresh and new, like, and it's disrupting a lot? Like, actually, have you read The Diary of a CEO?
I haven't read his book, no.
No. So in that, he talks about like disruption and stuff like that, and that anything that's being like highly disruptive, like what you were saying about the internet and like all that type of stuff, it's just like anything that's being talked about and people are shitting on, essentially, like grab it and go with it type of thing, because anything that's disrupting is normally
a good sign.
That because people are angry, or that it's going to take their jobs, or it's going to do this, or it's going to do that. So like, do you think you have to find that type of disruptive niche, or do you think if you've got a good enough community around the niche that you're in, that it'll last?
I think it's easier to do disruptive, because usually in disruptive niches, no one wants to do content on that, or it's like harder to do content because like I had an engineering background, so like the technicalities of AI I kind of understand, which is like a weird niche. Like no one, like it's really hard to do an AI page if you don't know anything about engineering or AI. Like you can kind of fake it, but eventually like it's going to catch up to you and you'll run out of content ideas, or you'll hit a maximum point of like education that you don't know. But I think you can do it in any niche. It just depends on what your skill set is. It's like, because my skill set fit perfectly for tech. I love just the tech niches or gaming or whatever. But if you're a fitness person, like there's a lot of fitness guys here and girls that do communities in Bali that have only like 50,000 followers, but they make amazing money just from the distribution they have and the community that they have and they've built over the last few years as well. I think it could be any niche, to be honest. It's just a matter of how passionate you are with it, because it does take a lot of time, and also how are you monetizing through it as well? Like, is it through like courses? Is it through online education? Is it through physical products? Because if you do physical products, margins are lower than if you do like courses or online education or sponsorships, etc.
Yeah.
And the clients as well are usually not going to pay as much as an AI client for the same like followers, for the same like a fitness influencer versus us. We probably get paid more than the fitness person.
Yeah.
Unless you want to do, the only other thing that I've thought about in the past is if you want to be a Mr. Beast, then you cover everything. And then you can pretty much, you work with everyone big in the world. It doesn't matter what company they're in, because these companies that spend money on him are usually trying to get everyone, and they have so much money. They have to, I think he charges over $1 million a video now for just to get featured for like 10 seconds on there. So
that's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. And so that's another niche. That's like a whole separate thing. If you,
I feel like that's a lot more work though.
That's a lot. You're there for years. Like you have to be like locked in for years to be able to do that. And you have to also be able to sit there and be able to have like know that the numbers might not go up every day. Yeah. Like it takes months to years to be able to build like we only reached like 900,000 I think Power AI now. It took 2 years to do that.
That's crazy. And that's a long time too.
It's a long time, yeah.
And it doesn't, in hindsight, it doesn't sound too long. Like, but actually doing it, and going through it is
long. I think it's like the delayed gratification. Like a lot of people don't want to do this business model because you don't get any gratification for a very, very long time, and you don't. No one wants anything to do with you until you follow it and your community grows, and then people want stuff to do. But that'll take months, and people usually don't have the patience or attention span to last that long. So I think it's a very ripe niche to disrupt if you have the patience and you're great at content. You also have to be creative though, and be able to do that. It's a really, really great niche. And if you like a simple lifestyle and being able to make money by doing just like 2 or 3 simple things, it's very, very attractive for that. Yeah,
nice. Where's Power AI and Josh Reiher go in the future? What are you just going to keep doing what you're doing? Do you think that's the easiest way, just consistency, or?
I do. I want to create, because we've got that flywheel I was explaining. I want to create like AI tools on the back of that, and monetize through that as well, and create like something that can help the community out, whether it's an AI influencer or AI that helps you with emails or something like that. I do want to create that, but I'm obsessed with the flywheel and being able to I just want to post content every day, and I want that to feed into everything else. I don't want to get too complicated, because people usually overcomplicate things. They earn less money, but they're working double the time. So I just want to keep on building the flywheel and adding like monetization options on the back of that pretty much over the next 2 to 3 years, and also travel a lot. Like I want to be able to travel and like we did Japan for 2 weeks. I did Japan last year for 3 months. We've been in Bali for the last 2 years. I kind of wanted to focus on that and enjoy life as well at the same time.
Yeah, nice, man. And then just like one more final thing before we go. If you had to start all over again, do you think you'd do it the exact same way?
Oh, that's a hectic question.
Yeah.
If I could start again and do it all again, the only thing I would change is asking more people for advice.
Yeah, okay.
Because I think I spent too long in the Ecom stage for 2 to 3 years putting all my money back into the company, earning $0, just building the company. And I could have realized earlier on that maybe that wasn't for me and I should have been doing this earlier. But I didn't really have the confidence, and I think I was struggling internally, ego, all that, like to be able to like reach out.
Help type of thing.
Because I was an engineer, I was like, I don't need help. Like, I technically, in society standard, like I should be well off already and figure shit out.
Yeah.
But I think a bit of vulnerability would have been good early on. I could have maybe, instead of taking 4 years, it would have taken 2 maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's a big thing that a lot of people could definitely. You just don't be scared to ask, because people do actually want to help you because they understand how hard it is, especially if you're just starting out, because they went through it themselves.
What's that old saying? It's no one above you will ever tear you down, or it's probably not the saying at all. I probably just made that up. But
exactly,
it's that type of analogy that like no one above you will ever kind of tear you down or anything like that. The only people pulling you down are the ones below you. Yeah,
exactly. They're the ones that you kind of don't want anything to do with anyway.
Yeah, and that goes back to like you're the product of the 5 people you're hanging out with, or however many people you're hanging out with type of thing. Like if you're hanging out with high achievers, you're probably going to be a high achiever. So
exactly, I 100% believe in that. That's so true.
That's sick. Oh man, thanks very much.
That's right. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
That was sick.